We're back. Yet another fun episode of the Dirty Laundry Game Worn Hockey Podcast, episode number 45. The listens keep going up, the comments on the shows. I got it posted late last Thursday night because I had some things going on Friday. I knew I wouldn't be able to get to it. I had messages when I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning that people had already listened and what they liked or what different things. So it's awesome that people are subscribing and really following this stuff. I've had a lot of other people reach out, just, hey, keep it up and like what you guys have covered. I know last week's show was great. Paul, we did miss you with that and wish you could have been here, but it's, again, family and that stuff always comes first. But it was a fun show, and we all learned a lot out of that, and the intricacies of how the Blackhawks do or don't do their stuff, and the inside story with that Connor Bedard jersey. So if you didn't listen to last week's episode, definitely go back and do so. You'll hear a lot of insider information and some really interesting things. Got a lot of different things to cover, touch on a few things, and then two big topics, one of which really just blew up from last night into all day today. But want to start with you, Paul. We're just 16 days away, or 15 when you're listening to this podcast, from the Sharks sale.
Yes, we are. May 18th, Saturday, doors open for season ticket holders and other groups at 11 a.m. It looks like they're doing it a little bit different this year. I haven't gotten all the details, but for Sharks season ticket holders, they sent us digital tickets. So it's just like going to a Sharks game, but there might be more people there. I'm not sure.
Now, how did they do that previously?
That you could show your the email that you were invited as a season ticket holder. You could show your Sharks 365 card, which is this thing. Where's my camera? We got a season ticket holder card.
There you go.
Which is nice. And tangent on this, the season ticket holder card is tied to your seat. So if they scan that for a game, that's your ticket for the game.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have to, get your digital wallet open and have something go wrong with the network, because, the issues I never had with paper.
Right.
But, so it is a really cool thing that, or you would show, you'd open up your digital wallet and show that you're a Sharks 365 member, or they just know you.
Now, do you think they change it this year because some people were skirting the rules or things like that?
Possible. It also might, that they do this as a benefit for Shark season ticket holders, and maybe it seems more like a benefit if you actually have to have a ticket and have it scanned. I don't know what they're thinking on the Shark side. It's I'm just happy that we still get access early, so we get in at 11 to purchase as season ticket holders. General public gets in at 1. I think all the groups are getting in at 11. I haven't verified that yet, but hopefully we'll definitely verify it before the 18th. And then they're closing early this year at 5, because it's in past years it's gotten a little bit dead near the end of it. And 1-day sale, so 6 hours. Look, I'm getting in early to take photos again, which it's amazing how much stuff they have in there. If you haven't seen the photos or been to the sale before, the Sharks do it right. All sorts of gear, equipment, the jerseys from this year that were not, hopefully will be there, that were not sold at the booth, the Game Worn booth. And it's been a long day in the past, so maybe I might be happy that it's only 6 hours this year. So
and again, this question for once these sales started coming up, and yours I think will be one of the first that hopefully answers it, is with the switch to Fanatics, is will there be just a crap ton of Adidas stuff dumped?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see, because the Sharks do have, after the draft will be the summer rookie camp, or prospect camp, whatever they call it, for 3 days, 4 days. And they need the practice jerseys for that. So I don't know if they're going to be able to release those now, the ones typically with the Velcro name bar, or if they're going to have to hold on to them because Fanatics won't have the new jerseys available yet. So those, if that's the case, they won't show up until either next year at the equipment booth, at the Game Worn booth at the Sharks games, or the sale in 2025, which sounds so far away.
Right. The other thing that we can hope to see, like we did last year, is guys getting the laundry bags full of clothes. That was a fun discussion last year after the sale. So we know people will be checking those closer, I think.
Yeah, Logan went through like a trash can full of that stuff and just found those two, which were not emptied yet. So really cool pickup. So good job, Logan.
I know Wade, speaking of equipment sales, Wade's trying to sweet talk the Blues, and they're letting us do the same thing like you do, Paul. Maybe getting in early and getting some pictures and talking to them a little bit. Because I think it is a topic that I'd love to talk to whoever it is that really manages that, because I want to hear the story. What the hell actually goes into that? How do you decide what's coming? Is it basically the equipment guys going, get this crap out of here, or they really spend time going through what they're getting rid of?
I had asked, actually, the Blues have never, not in recent history, done anything with the Velcro backed jerseys. I guess I assume, since they haven't changed in the Adidas era, they probably just keep recycling every year. But that was a request of mine this year at one of the games when they had a big rack of practice jerseys out, was like, have you guys ever thought about selling the ones with the Velcro name bars? I said, you guys are going to have to get rid of them next year anyways. And I kind of like, hopefully that sparked like, hey, people want these.
To my knowledge, at least, is going to as many sales as you and I have. And if people hear this and have been to Blue sales that have seen them, I haven't seen many, even going back the Reebok era and that. You never even just see the name bars anywhere.
No. I've seen a complete Oshi jerseys, like kind of floating around the St. Louis area, a training camp jersey with the name bar. But yeah, I have a couple. They actually played games in some of those with the Velcro name bars in the early 90s. And I actually have a couple of those. So it's a game jersey, and then on the back, there's actually a full Velcro name bar on the back of it. So yeah, I'd actually love to get a hold of those, just because it's something we don't get our hands on.
And it's a much cheaper collectible too.
Sure. I mean, you assume those have to be, $50 to $150 would be your, my guess.
Right. So we can hope a whole lot of things come up, and as all the listeners know, you and I will cover the hell out of the Blues one. I wish they get the date set soon, because I have some different travel scheduled. If I miss it again, like I did a couple years ago, I'm going to have to strangle somebody.
You were pretty emotional about that.
Yes, the 700 plus jerseys. I was on vacation having a nice time with the family, and then did that suck. So yeah, as we hear more of the dates for teams, and if teams have leaked them or put them out to others, shoot me an email or shoot me a message. I just haven't seen any come up with any of the groups as of yet. So I really do think the Sharks are the first one. So yeah, I can't wait to hear the reporting on that. My Gray just put out today their upcoming expo. And I really like that. It's free for all attendees. Not sure what the cost of the table space is, but you can email Stu at MyGray to do that stuff. They're encouraging trades and sales. They want, I apologize. I'll just read this so I don't screw it up. 2023, MyGray made attendance for our annual Game Worn Jersey Expo free, and our commitment to strengthening the annual expo as a hobby-focused event. This year, we're furthering that agenda by making all table space free for collectors and dealers alike.
Wow.
Good for you guys. Well done. Trades and sales will be welcome and encouraged for anyone who wants to come. Look for the 2024 Expo. Sign up for table space by emailing Stu at soxenhorn@mygray.com. Table space will be limited, and we expect high demand, so please make your request ASAP. Indicate what you'll be selling, displaying at your table. We'll attempt to fill the request. Space is not guaranteed. You'll sign up will be confirmed once you received notice and a written reply from us. And trying to pull that up, though the date's not on there. So find that.
We will not be having free tables at the St. Louis Expo.
Maybe someday.
Well, yeah, if I get the right sponsors someday, but or if I hit the lottery, yes, we will have free tables.
And the date for that is Saturday, July 13th.
Yeah.
At Rarton Valley Community College Conference Center. But yeah, if you're out that way or wanting to do a table, reach out to Stu at Migrate to get that stuff squared away.
All joking aside, good for Migrate. I mean, as a leader in our little hobby, free admission, free tables, cool for them. I mean, I know that they are able to generate a lot of income from the event, so it's cool that they're kind of giving back to the people that are supporting it. So
19th annual for them. Some of their auctions that we've talked about in the past, but just zooming up some upcoming dates. Toronto Maple Leaf practice jersey auction ends May the 6th. The Stadium Series for the Devils nameplate and socks ends the 13th. Kraken Winter Classic helmets are the 14th. They do actually have an FDNY hockey team charity auction going through May 16th. Beautiful jerseys and a nice goalie mask in there. And then ending also on May 16th, the 23-24 Predators team issue hoodie auction. Going over to NHL auctions, there are a handful of Edmonton Oilers jerseys from 22-23, excuse me, and Evan Bouchard. And these close, actually, by listening to this, they're over with. I apologize. And Evan Bouchard, a Darnell Nurse for $670, which pretty decent. Leon Draisaitl with the A that was only worn for 4 games, $6,020.
That one is not closed yet.
Yeah, and that closes at 11:09 p.m. Eastern time, so 10:09 p.m. Central. But by the time you're listening to this on Friday, I'm sorry, it's over if you missed it. It's been going since the 25th of April. Evander Kane for $17.55. Holy crap. And a Connor Bedard, 23-24, Edmonton Oilers game-worn royal blue set, number 2B, 600th NHL assist milestone and 6th assist game, February 13th. The current price with about 2 hours, hour and a half to go, $29,945. I want to read a description on this because it's labeled 2B. So I'm curious what this says. The 600th NHL assist milestone and 6 assist game jersey on February 13th, 2024 versus Detroit. McDavid wore this royal blue set number 2B jersey from January 27th to February 26th, 24 for a total of 6 home games, including the night he picked up 6 assists. Set 2B along with the facsimile signature of Jeff Lang signature, the additioner's official Edmonton Oilers game-worn jersey inventory tag with a number on it. Small board burns, like stick marks, scattered game-related marks. This is the only jersey he wore over the course of the above-mentioned time frame, and it has been photo matched to game action images from the game versus Detroit. McDavid scored a total of 16 points, 1 goal, 15 assists in the jersey over 6 games it was worn. Please note, and I like this too from the Oilers, please note it was washed after every game, so some marks have been washed out and or lightened over time. It will come exactly as worn. It will not be autographed. Will also come with a letter of authenticity. I like that mention. That is a appreciated, to me anyway, appreciated sentence. What do you guys think?
I'm glad they're calling out. They're not going to sign it, which is
That too.
I like the description. I think that I think that they're smart enough to know that you're looking at a $30,000 jersey. So, and obviously, the idea of photo matching has become such kind of an integral part of our hobby. I think that it's actually a really smart play to say, hey, listen, not all these marks stay. And I think that's something that people do miss, is they do wash out and they actually do scrub them out and, whatever. But great description. Sounds like a great jersey. I mean, a little out of my price range, but that's a heck of a jersey.
Yeah, it's about 500 too much for me at this point. I had to drop out.
You bowed out?
Yeah. If you're into gear collecting, there are some auctions on the game used equipment side out here as well. Some Oilers stuff, Leon Draisaitl's helmet. You've got a Corey Perry helmet, Ryan Nugent Hopkins. You've got some Buffalo Sabres, including Tage Thompson, sticks. Good mix of things. So there are some different things out here. They close May the 5th, so you do have till Sunday to get those. So that of the auctions that I'm aware of out there, active ones anyway, that's all I have. Before we get into the two big topics, Paul, we'll start with you. Do you have any other things?
No, I mean, the big thing's the sale coming up for us. And the two big topics also, but we'll let you get to those.
Wade, what about you?
Yeah. So, I mean, the Major League Baseball and the dilemma that they are having, and we've mentioned on here about the jersey quality and some quality control issues. Sounds like there's been enough stink.
Quality control issues.
Yeah. There sounds like there's been enough stink by the players and the Players Association and the teams with pants tearing and jerseys being see-through that sounds like Nike and Fanatics have addressed the issue and are going to address the issue for next year. So I think that's a positive thing for us hockey guys, knowing that, if there is an issue, they are going to try to jump on it. So not to get too into it, but I thought that was something that's interesting with the NHL going to Fanatics next year.
And I think I'm hopeful, and I know we mentioned this some before, that I don't think, again, because the Nike and Fanatics partnership is kind of a weird deal, and there's been a lot of the articles break that down, with Fanatics taking over the Adidas/SP factory in Canada. I'm expecting less issues. Because I mean, even if you remember in the hobby when Adidas was announced and they were coming out, we were very suspectful of all that. I mean, all of us were like, well, we got to see these. And then we saw some of the pictures of the dimples before we saw them in person. We're like, what the hell are those? And then we all fell in love with those jerseys. So I'm hoping it will kind of be the same now. But
I'm going to miss the dimples next year.
I agree.
Yeah. And one thing to remember about Adidas, they had been doing, college hockey jerseys for years and other leagues. They didn't have the dimples, but, they actually made some really nice jerseys before they got the NHL contract. I don't know. I think this gets repeated every week. I can't think of anything Fanatics made, which is decent.
No. But here's the thing.
Let's hope they start this fall.
I think we have to have faith in the factory that's producing them. And I think that's what I've kind of fallen back on, is like, I'm not necessarily confident Fanatics is going to do a great job with it, but I'm confident that the people that they are entrusting to do it are going to continue to provide us really quality jerseys that they have for a really long time. So that's my hopefulness.
Yep.
I have the same hope.
We'll see where it goes. So first of all, I want to get into classic auctions a little bit, touch on some of the things that closed, and then a couple of things that I saw and see where you guys stand on them. Some of the big, just going from the top things that closed, the number one and number two things that closed were hockey cards again. And I think at the previous auction, same thing. 1910, 1911 Imperial Tobacco sold for $24,450, and the 1911, 1912 set sold for the same price. Upper Deck Young Guns, Connor McDavid rookie, Beckett graded pristine 10. It's you could, the guy that bought this card could almost be paying for the jersey, because it's sold for $21,013.
Yeah.
The fourth highest thing was Bobby Hull's 73-74 WHA Jets jersey, sold for $20,035.
Which I think was still a value buy for a Hull jersey at the end of the day. I mean, like, It's still a pretty good price to get a Bobby Hull jersey for, even though it's 20 grand.
Yeah. And then the number 5th thing, which I still don't understand. I guess it's just part of what the auction was, but a 1993 Skybox, high rated Bart Simpson drawing.
Yeah.
By Matt Groening for $18,236.
I think it's cool. One of my favorite auction items, not hockey related, but super, super cool.
Oh yeah. And then Brian Trottier's 89.90 alternate captains was 15,000. Jeff Carlson sold for 13,000. A good, I think for what's in here, the some really good prices. Gretzky's 2003 Megastars game worn jersey sold for 12,545. And those kind of things I expect to be in that range, but some of the modern stuff I was a little surprised about going into the modern jersey section. The highest was Yzerman's 96 World Cup game worn photo match one for 13,028. And then Gretzky's comes in from the Megastars games comes in, and then Darcy Kemper's finals jersey from 22 was a drop off at 8,460, and then you kind of see things start staggering down a little bit. But I went and looked at some of the bottom end prices, and I was a little surprised. Dylan Ferguson, who was on the inaugural team inaugural season, for the Vegas Golden Knights, 17-18. It was a game issue jersey. It was a, I don't know which set it was, the playoff set, but it has the inaugural patch on it. And I've seen those issued jerseys sell for $700, $800, $900. It closed at $392.40. Does that surprise you guys a little bit?
There's some stuff in there, like the one jersey that I thought I was surprised it would have went for. Like, it's a really beautiful, like mid '90s Mike Badano jersey that went for around $6,000, which I think if you saw that listed in one of the groups or separately would garnish a higher ask price. There was some lower end stuff that I was surprised. I mean, like I saw some grumblings from a few people that had consigned that they didn't get as much on, that they took a bath. Again, I think, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if the prices are up on everything because prices on certain things seem down a little bit,
and it's hard to judge from an auction though, because especially at the lower end here, if there were so many jerseys in this one, if you get outbid on something, you can move on to something else. And
for sure.
So much stuff on the market right now. There's no point, and just like, running up. Well, this one actually kind of surprises me. Kyle Quincy's Griffin's jersey ended up at $576. That's more than I expected. I was going to use that as my example. Terrible example, Paul. But a lot of stuff on, the lower end, it's, you can find comparables elsewhere. And it's,
there's a lot of stuff out there on that level.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. There's a lot of stuff out there right now. And, I think we're all seeing that effect, that unless it's something really special, there's a lot of stuff out there and there's a lot of choices. So I think that falls into what you're saying there, Paul. I think that makes it, there's a lot of choices.
And look at going some of the other ones that kind of caught my eye. Scott Young, a 97-98 Ducks jersey with that green dazzle cloth, only sold for $572. But a Doug Waite, and we've seen Doug Waite sell $750 to $1,100 at least in some areas, sold for $1,800 through this auction. Reverse retro Ducks jersey, $763 for the Wild Wing. And I don't know if and again, I'm not an expert on this team, but just looking at some of what I've seen others sell for, it just kind of blows me away a little bit. Max, the couple of them were in there and sold in the mid 700s for that Wild Wing, and when those things were out initially dropped, that was huge money.
Well, I think people discovered they ended up wearing a few sets of those, and I think that's That's one of the things. That's one of those kind of jerseys. It's a modern thing. They wore more than one set. And I think that, people that wanted those when they were hot as a firecracker, they got them and they paid for them. And now it's like, I don't think there's as much want, if that makes any sense, for something like that. There's not as many people hunting for it anymore.
No, that makes total sense. And it's just, I don't know, looking through here, and we've seen a bunch of different posts about the hobby's not great and the prices are over the board. And Paul, you're right, is the auctions may always not be the best gauge, but I do think it's an interesting to get a snapshot from that.
Yes, I'll agree with that. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the lower end which didn't garner many bids at all. So it's
But I think too, the other piece of this is there's just a lot of stuff showing up, be it by team or be it by individual. On the team side, we've talked about it at least touched on it last handful of shows. The Minnesota Wild open up their vaults with stuff. You've got just around the corner, I know Ottawa's getting ready to drop all their stuff online. The Flames will be within the next probably month and a half, if I remember their time frame right, should be doing theirs. So I think a lot of people, unless you really have to have it, a lot of people are holding back just because in the next, call it 3 months, there's a lot of stuff coming out for the modern side of things. Or in the case of the Blues, Wade, is the old stuff that they randomly throw out there.
I mean, I think that's changed. That's changed the complexion of the desirability of some of that stuff. I mean, like, here, I'm a clown style guy for the Blues. When they dropped all that stuff, and then even the 90s stuff that they kept dropping in Rinkside, at the end of the day, it became less of a hunt for that stuff. And I think that's why the prices, even on the set of jerseys they sold, there were still some really moderate prices on a few of those. And I think it was because at the end of the day, there was an auction with 20 jerseys that typically would be rare. And when you see 20 of them, they feel less rare. And then in the same sense, you can't bid on all of them. You can't win all of them. And people that were hunting for them now have the hunt's over. You ran them out of the bushes. So, people are taking their shots. So, best thing for them to do on that is take a little break from it, because the market's full. There's not everybody's crazy enough to want a ton of them.
When you've not seen a volume of those in years, and then you've dumped multiple either on Rinkside or through auctions all at once, that's a lot of people have cleaned up with those and are happy.
They had a hole, they filled it. They're not looking for 5 of them. They're you got, I found my favorite guy. Well, the next time those pop up, it's just less desirable.
Yeah, so just another data point on all of this. Looking at the number of bids, there are 96 lots, and this includes jerseys, photos, cards, everything, without any bids.
Wow.
So 96 out of 1,800.
So what's that? By my math is
5%.
Yeah, I say 5 or 6%.
4 to 5% did not get bids.
And I'd be curious through, like, and I don't think there's any way to do it easily. There may be, is call it through their last 5 or 6 auctions. Is that percentage solid? Yeah. Because if it is, then that's probably the normal amount you'll always find, or is it an outlier?
Yeah, I'll have to try to take a look later. Not gonna do it in real time.
Again,
I expect it's done in 5 minutes, Paul. Come on.
That's a big auction.
That's possible.
1,800 lots. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. So and a lot of those things didn't have, like, I think part of one of the reasons is that's not an auction where everything's starting at $1. There are minimum bids on a lot of that stuff. And if they're not getting bids, then maybe the minimum bid was just a touch too high. I mean, or they just figure, hey, what the heck, we can recycle that into another auction, and they're not concerned about it. I don't know what their selling theory is.
And some of those things, yes, it's hockey, but some of those lots are probably a very niche collector.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I kind of went and scoured stuff outside of the normal Blues, Rivermen, those kind of things, and saw a couple of, I kind of like to have those. I'll keep an eye on them, but it's like, I don't need them enough for me to throw money at it just to get.
It's hard. It's hard too. Here, the Blues have had a ton of auctions. The assumption is they have at least, as for you and for me, they have at least a couple auctions coming up. You have to assume that they have, the heritage jersey. They've got the retro jersey they wore one game. There is a set 3 that, whether or not what the players kept or didn't keep. So the Blues have at least those 3 auctions, plus their Friday drops on Rinkside, plus any other surprise auctions, plus the summer sale that you have to think is coming up. So, like, you have to be a little bit cautious.
Yeah.
Like for Paul probably has to be knowing that their event is happening right now. I mean, that probably changes looking at Classic as hard as you would normally. Going, hey man, I'm going to the summer sale. I know I usually put out X. It's really hard to put part of X towards an auction right now. Not speaking for Paul, of course, but I'm speaking for me.
Yeah, no, and there's just so much. I mean, this time of year, there's going to be so much going on. It's I've not bothered to look historically how these auctions in April do. Right before, right before all the equipment sales start. Right before, I mean, in the old days, a lot of people were waiting for the migrate sale.
Yeah,
it's, and I'm sure some people still are. It's there's just a lot out there, and it's
And I mean, I at least seen rumors of in sometime in short order, no official dates, is GameWarnAuctions.net should be doing theirs, because they have been sending some emails out looking for things and said there's going to be a spring sale. Well, now we're getting into early May, so theoretically it should be any time. So I'd be curious to see where that lands.
Yeah.
So the other big topic, which really exploded this morning, if you haven't seen this one, it's in the Johnny C fam started a great post about it in and again, we apologize. I or any of the rest of us don't want to offend admins of other Game Worn pages, but we call Paul's or the Game Worn the big Game Worn group gets posted there, and that's kind of the go-to page for this stuff. So I don't ever, not knocking any other pages. It's like, that's just the big one. And then we have all these other more focused on teams. So I'm not knocking your page, I promise.
And I just want to throw this in there. On the main page, we do have an index to all the other groups.
Yes.
So yes. And we're especially for the specific team groups and stuff, it's really important because they dig down a lot deeper than we do in the main general group, which is really nice. But that is not what this topic is about. But
yeah, just wanted to touch on that to make sure. Not that I've had anybody complain, but I just want to people understand why we say things the way we do. So Johnny C fam, and I did reach out to him hoping to get him on tonight, but he was tied up with some stuff. We will have him on a later show. He does want to come on very much. They put Colorado Avalanche put a set of their jerseys up.
Wait. I know we're recording this, but it closes in 22 seconds. So go on.
So yes, you missed it not once, but twice, and you'll understand why I said that in a minute. So the auction was supposed to close tonight at that'd be what, 8:00, 8 or 8:15, Paul.
Central time, yes.
Yeah. So they were when the auction started, and it was listed to close on Thursday, May 2nd in the evening. Somebody or multiple people were watching the auction last night and saw the clock change to May the 1st, and I think it was midnight, if I remember correctly. So people, of course, bid. There were a lot of per the comments, and again, I'm not bidding on any of these because they're not that I don't like the Avalanche, it's just not what I collect. So people are bidding on them. There's active bidding, a lot of stuff going on, and it closes at midnight. Even though the text on the main page of the auction, everything else said it actually is supposed to close Thursday, May 2nd at 8 p.m. So closes last night at midnight. Some people go in and pay their bill, get the receipt, the whole 9 yards. And people were pissed because a lot of people, like Wade, you and I, and Paul, and probably you as well, when we're keeping track of auctions, a lot of times we're not bidding until the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We may watch certain ones or maybe throw an early bid in and kind of see what things do. But people really have it scheduled to get these last second bids in because you're on your phone, you get an immediate, you've been outbid, you can jump back in there, those kind of things. But when you have this get changed like this, and then you're like, one, those jerseys would have gone higher. And then you're pissed you couldn't bid. So people went in, paid their invoice, got a receipt, the whole bit. And a few of the comments and thank you for everybody for again sharing stories on this. It's all out there. The charges were reversed. They put the auctions back up earlier today, and I can't tell you the exact time. I think it was 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So they caught the error early. I'm assuming because the Avalanche were emailed like an avalanche. But you had a couple of them, I guess, didn't show back up right away. But a lot of people are pissed. The ones that went in and paid their invoices are pissed because they got their charges reversed and the auctions were thrown back up there. And they said, Johnny had posted about 12 hours ago, says there's two parts of the screw up this has caused. The folks that paid and received their invoices, the lot should be pulled. It's payment done and receipt received to conclude a purchase. I want to stop on that a minute first. I'll start with you, Paul. Do you agree on that?
Well, if I recall correctly, the Avalanche had a very similar screw up 2-3 years ago, back when Grubauer was there, where they actually closed an auction a day before it was supposed to close. And they actually honored that closing time. And I know a lot of jerseys went for way below market price. I'm guessing what they did on this one is, what's today, May 2nd? They set the closing time to May 2nd, and they didn't put, I'm sorry, closing date to May 2nd. They did not put a time in. So midnight rolls around, auction closes. It just rolls in, May 2nd.
Sure. Yep. And that is what time it per the messages or the info in the post, it did say it closed right at midnight.
Yeah. So I don't know the right thing to do. Whether you honor the ones that people were invoiced and paid, because obviously it's all automated. There's probably not people there at midnight sending out invoices and processing it. Or do you reopen it and close it at the time you originally said it was going to be? No matter what you do, you're going to piss someone off. I mean, either side. I know we were looking for a jersey for a friend when this happened 2-3 years ago. And like you said, we did not bid early because we wait till the end and then we bid. And then these auctions have extended bidding. That's why when I said 22 seconds, it still keeps recycling back to 30 seconds. So the whole key to all this is don't screw up like this. But now that they did, I think everything should have been reopened, being on the other side of it. But I'd also be pissed as hell if I got the invoice, paid it, and do not get my jersey. So it's a tough one.
Yeah. Wade?
Man, that's such a tough call. I think that if I paid the invoice, I'd be furious. I mean, I think that's at the end of the day, because here at the end of the day, let's say you got a deal on something, and it's not your fault if somebody wasn't paying attention. I mean, on the other end of it, let's say the auction closed and then all of a sudden 3 guys go, but I thought it was tomorrow. And then they go, well, okay, we understand. We'll let you rebid on those items you want to rebid on. So, I mean, it's like Paul said, it's like it could go either way. And if you pay the invoice, you pay the invoice. You should get what you paid for. But in the same sense, I guess the question became, what did they see as more important, their air or honoring the close?
Yeah.
God, that's such a hard call. Not one I'd want to be the one making the call on, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't have a great answer.
Yeah, and again, like Paul, like you said, and some of it's brought up in these discussions in the posts here, is when that happened previous and they honored that, maybe they realized they couldn't do that again because of all the money left on the table.
Yeah.
And people were upset, on the other side who didn't get to bid.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd be furious. I mean, like if they closed one and I didn't bid, I'd be furious. But if I won something and then they had to give it back and then had to pay more for it the next time, I would especially be even more furious.
Right.
So it's like, what do you do? I mean, God.
And then
we had a different situation. I think we talked about it on the show, one of the Barracuda auctions this year. It was supposed to close at a certain time, and it didn't. And they kept taking bids for like 20 minutes, until we messaged them and like, hey, what's going on? Why isn't this closed? So they did close it then, and then they retracted all the bids back to 8 o'clock or whatever time it was. The problem is, people then were debating like, what second should it close at?
Yeah.
Like I said, don't make these mistakes. If you're running an auction, it's not that hard to set up. All this software is pretty good, actually, and get it right.
Yeah, and it's should be, I would think. And again, Paul, you and I both in IT, and you try to make these things pretty much dummy proof anymore. But something got missed. Okay, on the second part of his post, it said the second, when someone wants their bids canceled, that listing should not be auto set at the second highest bid. It should be reset with the bid increments of the previous high bidder removed. This is bringing back memories of the 21-22 screw up, which Paul, you referenced already. I don't disagree with that either. And then though Johnny got into some of the discussions on the warn dates. And again, not following these as close as some other stuff. I don't know as much information, but it says the warn dates say out on April 8th, 2024, which is odd considering the Avs wore their alts the day later on April the 9th. Was there another set issued for April 9th only? Something that was never answered by Heather, who works for the Avalanche and does this, who somehow was on vacation, but and Johnny did not get a auto response.
Heather works for the charity, so I'm not sure how close that is to the Avalanche. I don't really understand how that's all set up, but
I guess Heather and Deb is another name that they put in here, are manage these auctions, at least by what I gather. And Avalanche people, when you hear this, please send me any message to correct it if I screwed up any of this. Jennifer Slaughter, who also posted on here, says, per direct correspondence with Heather and Deb from KSE, which is the charity arm there, these jerseys were out on 4/8 and not worn on 4/9. And I'm assuming here 4/13 players kept the set for themselves. That's just more about dates. And some people are commenting, glad to see it was reopened with closure at the correct time. So it's a little bit of both. Is just since they published and I'm trying to see, Johnny doesn't have like the text at the top. I don't think the details are.
Have they closed now, Paul?
6 seconds, but it will reset.
Okay, so and I will say this: I went to and thank you for sending the auction link to us, Paul. On the homepage, like the description page for that, and as I understand it, this page was not changed. It says the auction closes Thursday, May 2nd at 8 p.m. If a bid is placed in the final 30 seconds of the auction, the close time will extend by another 30 seconds until no bids have been placed in that time frame. So they did specifically say Thursday, May 2nd at 8 p.m. And I believe in the conversations on the pages that was confirmed as well. So it wasn't just closes May 2nd. It was 8 p.m. May 2nd. So helpful, but I do agree, if you paid for it, that gets into some questionable things but I guess also if you blew everybody's away and said resetting this, and it's not clear, and if again, Colorado people that have been following this close, send it, I'll cover it we'll touch on it on the next show, is when they reopened them, did they restart the bids or did they reopen them this morning with the last active bid? Like, okay, when it closed last night at midnight, if the jersey I was bidding on was $1,000,
so they started 1,000 and go back to zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, they kept it at 1,000. They were able to restore, all the bids were still there.
Okay. That's good at least. And just going through some of these prices, Makar's sold for $6,558.
Yeah.
One thing I will say I do like, and this is also hosted by Give Smart. For those of you that do, though, the Blues do, and a lot of other teams do it. I do like in the small print underneath the bidding, it tells you what the fair market value is right there. And I know the Blues give us that weight on our receipts, but I like that up front. The fair market value of these jerseys is $250.
Yeah, so that's the replacement cost to the team.
Yeah, since you brought up Makar, his is currently at 8,500.
So okay, I need to refresh my auction, and I apologize.
Yeah, so I'm watching it too now. You know, I mean, the one thing that you did touch on, and I want to hit on is if somebody backs out of a bid, and it should go back down to wherever that person entered the bidding. So, like, I've had that happen in the past where, like, I was second bidder on something, and then you get like a second chance on it. Well, I don't want the second chance at my highest bid. I want the second chance at the bid to which the person that backed out. That's where it should be, because that person just basically ran you up. So that's my opinion.
All of his should be taken out of the
all of this should be taken out, and it should go back to wherever that person entered the bidding, in my opinion.
All of his should be removed, and any bid that it impacted should be removed.
Yeah, correct. I agree with that. But again, you know, they never want to do that. Nobody ever wants to do that. But back in the day, you used to get a lot of that before eBay got really big. If you remember back in the day on eBay, before they really cracked down on shill bidding, you know, that was something you had to like kind of watch out for, because you'd suddenly get a second chance on something. And even certain auctions, you know, like you look back and say, well, this guy entered it here. Well, I'm not paying that, you know?
And the other thing, and again, I've not looked at Avalanche jerseys ever, like auction wise, just because it's not something I follow. But again, looking at how the Blues do theirs and the descriptions and stuff, I'm a little surprised. All's there say for the description is Colorado Avalanche division rivalry jersey and a size. And they've got a decent amount of pictures there. They even come with a nameplate, it looks like, but zero description otherwise. It doesn't say when it was worn, that it includes a nameplate, any of those kind of things. But the other piece that I kind of do like is the bidding history is there. You can see it, and of course, it doesn't give usernames or anything, but it gives when the bids were placed and how they climbed up.
Yeah.
And that I do kind of like.
Seems like the prices are pretty reasonable on some of these lower end guys.
I don't disagree.
For me, what the jerseys are, I mean, I couldn't imagine. And you know, like you said, I watched some, but you know, if this was a Blues auction on a specialty jersey, the idea that anybody, like I'm going down to some of these, the idea that some of these are $500 is wacky to me, because there's no way you would ever have that happen.
So
Brandon Cutler $475. I mean, Peter Holland $585 or $575.
Go ahead and click through. Some of those are game issued. So like Ben Myers is
but
at
even
5
still,
o'clock.
yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, because the Blues, I don't know. It's just wild to me.
And I've got to laugh.
But,
and again,
even the prices aren't, even for the Stars, the prices aren't bad.
No. And one of the guys has just got to be popular for the name alone. Miles Wood. Sorry, had to be the act like a 12-year-old for a minute there, but it is interesting to look through those. But I like looking to see what other teams do with these auctions, and like I said, I wish I could have gotten Johnny on to get his perspective from an big Avalanche bidder, and knowing how they do these on a regular basis. And I'll be curious to see what comments are posted after this auction is over, is if a lot of people that initially won now lost out, or it pretty much shook out about the same. Odds are they paid a lot more, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, if the auction keeps restarting, people are still bidding. So obviously, there's more action on them right now than there were when they closed last time, because now they're getting action. But again, I don't know. I'm still, as everybody knows, I hate when people post about auctions that are still going on, because it just invites more people to bid against you. And Doc, we have had that discussion off the show.
Yes.
About my utter hate and displeasure when somebody posts
about
an auction while it's still going on, and then somebody will say, "Oh, where's that at?" And then somebody also posts a link to it, and I start steaming and get to the point where I can barely talk because I get so mad about it.
But then the other side that the Blues do too is they send you a reminder with 24 hours to go, and then they send you a 30-minute reminder in text. So if you forgot, then you get the text.
In my own brain, though, and I stand behind it. It invites more people to re-engage in it. The people that have to ask on the Facebook group typically are the people who would have not paid attention to the text that came in. But then if they get stirred back into it, then if that costs me money, I hate it.
You know what? Hey, I don't blame you. We all want to get the best deal.
Absolutely.
I do want to give and again, we'll see the comments and maybe touch on this next show just to kind of see if anything shook out or if there was any other major bitches or things happened from it. A little bit of breaking news as I'm scrolling through. I always try to kind of keep an eye on social media and stuff while we're doing the show. Is in the Dallas Stars game worn groups. Alex Garofalo posted that the Stars just recently sold a set of the blackout jerseys, but it doesn't sound like they were disclosed properly. What does that sound like? Really? Oh, yeah, the Avalanche, just what I read a few minutes ago. It says PSA for blackout jerseys. For those of you who won a blackout jersey in a recent hangar auction, note that the jersey wasn't worn in the actual final blackout game of the season on April 13th. Reached out to Hangar Hockey about this, and they said that the players got a 1-game set for the April 13th game that they kept for themselves via per the CBA. So the most games of the blackout sold at the auction will have on it is 10 of the 11 total blackout games from 23-24 season. Happy collecting.
Just like the Bruins.
Yeah. So I always wish, and maybe it's in this case, actually, they knew they were giving those jerseys to the players, is the teams need to start. And again, how much do they care? Well, it's a side question. Is the teams need to be conscious of this, because people buy and bid a certain way because, right or wrong, they assume that they're being worn all this time. And then after the fact, you find out, crap, okay, I was at the final blackout game and the jersey I bought isn't even the one that I saw.
Yeah.
It's everything but that. So it's, I don't know. It frustrates me some, but I also understand that the teams at the end of the day don't care, or they do, and they can't do a lot about it, because again, in this case, and at least the Stars made it abundantly clear, The players were taking that set as part of the CBA. But
Yeah.
they would have had to decide that enough of ahead of time, especially if all the players were getting them, that they could have probably put that description in their auction.
I don't know if they added it to it, but like I'm clicking on some of these and like I'm on the Sam Steele one that says blackout games worn 11-18, 11-22, 12-2, 12-11, 12-31. So I guess it doesn't say that this one was worn on the 13th. So I mean, it lists the season blackout games worn,
or maybe everybody just assumed,
or they added. Yeah, maybe they added that later. But I mean, I'll tell you this, man: the prices on these things are cheap. Jesus, like I'm collecting the wrong team.
I didn't even know there was an
like
auction.
Serious?
Yeah.
Huh?
I had no idea they auctioned
like
those
the
off.
Pavelski went for $1,900 for the Pavelski. I mean, that seems cheap. I mean, like the Robertson went for $2,100. I mean, that's like a superstar all-star player. I mean, like the Ottinger sold for $1,650. I mean, God, you can't get a regular season. I'm going to start collecting other teams, Doc. That's what it comes down to.
Well, and this one's a surprise one because he's had such a solid season. Jason Robertson.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. I'm sorry, 2,100 for his.
That's cheap. I mean, the Sagan went for $950.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're sharp as hell. I actually wish
they're beautiful
all
jerseys.
teams would do this.
Gorgeous. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous jerseys. Sorry for kind of going off topic, but
no, and like the
Jamie Benn got a ton of action. The Jamie Benn got 34 bids, and it still only went for $2,500.
Yeah, and the Dadonov one, the starting bid was $750. It's the only bid it got.
Yeah, there's some deals there. Like, not trying to be dumb, but wow.
Yeah. So I always like throwing like last minute things, and like I said, I just happened to scroll, kind of checking pages, see if there was anything else I needed to touch on, and there's that.
The Ryan Suter went for $750. I mean, that guy's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it's just wild to me.
Yeah. So I actually wish that that in an upcoming season, all teams did a blackout jersey.
Yeah,
I think that is sharp as hell. And with the gloves and helmets and stuff that the
like even if they didn't, like if the Blues did just like a navy blue jersey with just yellow, like just it was all navy blue and then just yellow, like that would be badass. That'd be badass. You know, if the Sharks did one, like they've done, the Sharks. I mean, here I can't even talk about the Sharks with Paul because they always have great jerseys.
Yeah, they did the black one this year, which is
beautiful.
They were supposed to wear like for the last 10 home games, and they stopped it like after 5.
Did they say why?
I haven't gotten an answer on that.
Really? So yeah, I mean, there's some cool stuff out there. There really is. I mean, the bad part is you can't buy everything and you can't collect everything.
No, need much bigger houses.
Yeah. It is now 8:36 Central Time. So after 36 minutes or maybe 35 minutes of extended bidding, the Avs auction finally closed.
Wow.
So
wow. I'm back on it.
Yeah. McCarr's at 85, the final one.
So we'll see what happens in the groups, I guess, and see what they say.
Oh, it's going to be interesting.
For sure, but I definitely wanted to cover that. And like I said, I wished Johnny could have joined us, but I still wanted to cover the topic because it was such a big, explosive, crazy thing today. And for once, I mention them now, but the listeners will probably be excited. For once, I didn't say a damn thing about Boston.
Yeah.
I don't think they had any. I don't think they sold anything between last show and this one. So that may be part of it.
So interesting. There were 3 McKinnon jerseys in here, one for each period.
Yeah, I think he does that. I think
is that how he normally does his? Does he wear a period?
I know in the past they combined them all into one auction before, so you bid on like the 3 jerseys or
really
the multiple ones. But yeah, this They listed them separately this time, and they probably have all year or the last 2 years, but
It's pretty cool.
yeah, but still, yeah, 4,500 each or so, not bad.
So
No.
I'm trying to think of it, see anything else or touch on any other topics. Again,
No, I mean, I think
if um, anybody out there is wanting to come on the show, either cover what they do or be one of the roundtable guests at some point this summer, I wouldn't mind doing, and I'm kind of planning on looking at timing, is maybe do a bigger group roundtable, is really get everybody's thoughts on like a state of the hobby show. We might have, instead of the 3 to 5 people we normally do, is do like 10 and do a state of the hobby and get some different takes on some things, have people submit questions. So that's definitely a down the road thing. I know I keep hyping the goalie gear nerd. He's had some scheduled things come up. I'm actually interviewing him next week. So that will be up by next Thursday, next Friday podcast. He's had some schedule conflict. So have I. So I promise you that one is coming. But we're going to keep doing weekly shows as we have stuff to cover and people are available. I thought it would, I know it's playoff time, but I thought some of the hobby stuff might drop off a little bit, but honestly, it's picking up.
Yeah.
Again, with all the equipment sales.
When you and the nerd go on, could you title that show Two Hockey Nerds, One Podcast?
I will definitely do that. That's of course you will say that. But yes, no, that is fantastic. I know he's very excited coming on and the reason, one of the reasons I've known him a number of years now and want to hear his insight. Plus, I know a lot of our collectors collect goalie gear. So I want to cover things from that side. A couple other notes. Again, you're listening to this on Friday or very late Thursday night. With 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the third period, unless the Bruins pull something out, this is going to be a tie series.
Yeah, they just scored. It's 2-0 now.
Is it? Okay. My app is a little slow. I'm not in front of a TV.
Sorry. Yeah, so I've been watching that. I apologize to everybody. I've been watching the hockey game. That's what I do.
No, it's great to see it, and that will now officially be a 7-game series. Holy crap!
Yeah. Especially crazy with Matthews being kind of out, and then the drama on the bench. You know, maybe this is the year that they needed that to kick in a little fire in some of the core fours pants. At least the 3 of them playing.
And man, if Boston gets knocked out in the first round too, and you've had Tampa and
Boston was so good all year. I mean, like all year, Boston's been a monster.
It's like last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's cool to see. It's cool to see. And it's been a fun playoff. You know, we talked about this before, Doc. You know, I think it's weird, and you know, all 3 of us are in the same boat. When your team's not in it, I find myself watching everybody else's games and their series and stuff. And not that I don't want it to be like this, but I actually enjoy not having kind of a team in it because I get to watch all of it and really just enjoy the good hockey. But it's fun. You know, it's been a fun year watching all this. So
and like you said, it's a different perspective because I'm watching both teams to see what they're doing. It's not just I'm focusing on our players. It's
there's definitely players I like on other teams, you know, and there's things that, you know, there's definitely that, but like I'm not like diehard pot committed to any one of these teams. So it's like, oh man, there's some great games.
So before we wrap this up, I'll start with you. Got anything else?
No, thank you guys again for another fun show. Paul, glad to have you back. I'm glad everything's, you know, you're back. We love you.
Paul, what you got for us? Anything?
Oh, just looking forward to the equipment sale, you know, both for the Sharks and elsewhere throughout the league. And thank you again for another wonderful show. Appreciate it.
I have one last thing to add. Are you and Mitch driving the Zamboni to the equipment sale?
We need to move the Zamboni because it's still there by the Sharks. So we got to figure out where and how we're going to move it. it does. We've talked about this. It starts up and all that. It doesn't move yet, but that we know what we need to do to get it moving. No,
Yeah,
we're
you
not
can
going to.
get Mitch to stand behind it and push the damn thing, and you steer.
Yeah, you can fit a hell of a lot of gear inside that thing. Just where where the ice and stuff goes. So, but no, we're not going to drive it there at 5 miles per hour, even though it's not too far from it. But
And since
hopefully
we
we'll
did,
have an update on that soon. I mean, because this is getting close to a year that we've had that. So
Yeah.
it's been a lot of
since
fun.
oh, definitely. I'm excited to see it drive around and do some fun things with it. And since we did mention Mitch's name, I figured I'll plug him as usual. The Drink Your Face Off puck bottle openers. If you haven't seen the back, they're super sharp. They do work well. Opening both beer, soda, all that kind of stuff, and his t-shirts. I know he's also doing sweatshirts. So if you're interested in any of those, reach out to him. He has been being good to the show with sending a couple things, and I know Wade's got some stuff as well. I'm just in my Star Wars shirt because it is that week. Saturday's May the 4th. So I've been wearing Star Wars all this week. So yeah, I have to stick with that in my crazy shirt. So with that, episode 45 is over. I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you've got questions, comments, whatever, I know it's the annoying thing, like, subscribe. Please go do that though, because it's really nice to sign in every few days and see more people are following the show, more people are liking, subscribing it. I know we'll never hit that point where we get a plaque from YouTube for 100,000 followers or whatever, but it's nice to just see the numbers go up, and we appreciate all the support out there. We'll see you 2 weeks from now, Paul. The show we'll be talking about the equipment sale, how it went. So
Talking about equipment sale prep.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I'm sorry. My calendaring is a tad bit off. So 3 weeks from now.
Excellent.
All right, gentlemen, we will see you back next time. Come on.